Welcome to Bourbon School. I'm Lauren.
And I'm Brian.
And today we've reached the final rung in our bourbon ladder.
That's right. We've taken you all the way from gateway bourbons up to today when we hit the high test stuff.
So, Brian, what did we start with at 80 proof?
So for our gateway bourbon, for getting somebody started, we picked Old Forester 86.
Okay, how about 90?
90 was Maker's Mark.
And then at 100, we got to Evan Williams Bottled in Bond, which really surprised us because we really did not like Evan Williams when we tasted it in our Gateways episode. 110 hit us at Russell's Reserve Single Barrel, and today we're at over 110.
Right. And all these bourbons are either barrel proof or pretty close to what you would consider a barrel proof, all over 100, well over 110. Mm-hmm.
So, Brian, are you ready to burn your face off?
I am ready. Let's do it. Okay, so we've picked 4 bourbons that we are going to test out to make our recommendation for this final rung in the ladder. We know what the 4 bourbons are, but we do not know which one is which as far as what we're tasting. So we're going to taste them, we're going to take some notes on them, and then give you our recommendation for what we think is the best one at this level.
And if you like our videos, please check out our 80, 90, 100, and 110 proof in our series.
And make sure you like, subscribe, share the video, and hit the bell for notifications so you never miss a new Bourbon School video. So let's get tasting. Okay, so we did our tasting, we took our notes, we discussed a little bit.
We did.
And we've got our picks. The first thing we should say is that none of these, I would say, don't buy them. Like, they're all good bottles.
Yeah.
And so I think maybe a couple suffered because a couple others were really, really good.
Yeah, definitely. I think it was a comparison issue there a little bit. Plus, once they kind of rested and we tasted all of them, we could go back and taste again. Right. We got more and different flavors out of them. So, yeah, I would say all of them are good. There's no bad picks here, but we did rank 2 at the bottom.
Right. And so we have a tie for basically what we did was we assigned points to each position we gave them. We add up those points. We rank them. Boom. And so we ended up with 2 bourbons that tied for the lowest number of points. And the first one is...
Old Grandad 114.
Yes. And this is like kind of the darling bourbon right now. Everybody out there is talking about Old Grandad 114.
Which is funny because in my research I found that they might have, Jim Beam might have discontinued this brand, but sales were going up, and so we can still find it on our shelves.
So thankfully your old college standby lives on.
Yes. Not in the same form, I think, but you know, he still lives.
The first thing we noticed about this, and we both said this, is very proofy on the nose. It is extremely... It burns your nose.
It did. It burned my nostrils on the initial and subsequent inhales.
Right. And the other thing I noticed about this one is, for me, it had a very thin finish. It did not stay with you very long.
Right, but the longer we tasted, the more flavors we got. So peanuts, for example, came out. I didn't taste that on the initial taste, but going forward, I was getting more depth of flavor as we went on.
Yeah, and that's a very Jim Beam thing. That peanut thing, everybody talks about that. What do you get for a bottle of Old Grandad 114?
I mean, it's about $29, $30. Pretty cheap.
That's a pretty good value. For 114 proof bourbon. You're not hurting there. $29.
Yeah.
The problem with it is really becoming harder to find now in our little town, my little town. They have it at one of the stores. And they always have it. But I hear a lot of guys talking about how they can't find this where they are. And there's even been some people murmuring about it being allocated.
Really?
Yeah, which is weird for an Old Grandad bourbon.
Yeah.
But, I mean, listen, it's a value buy. And I think it tastes like a value buy, right?
So your Old Grandad 114 has that rye heat, bit of a burn, a strong smell to it, but it does have that peanut flavor as well. It's pretty well priced.
Yeah, I think and this is one that you won't feel bad about mixing or sipping. I prefer a higher proof when I'm mixing, so this fits the bill. It's just a matter of what flavor profile you prefer. This one, for some people, might not be their cup of tea. I think it's all right.
Yeah. Okay, so tied for our bottom spot, which again, we liked all of them.
I'll get this one in here.
Is 1792 full proof.
All right.
And looks like you like this one, Brian.
I do. This was a store pick from a local place up in Buffalo, and I like it, and you actually do 1792 full proof. You'll find a ton of store picks of this one. So they do vary bottle to bottle, but for this particular bottle, we kind of ranked it on the lower end. Why?
Well, I on the first smell did really get a lot of ethanol nail polish remover on the nose. Once it aired out a little bit in the glass, I tasted some other flavors, but I did rank this one the lowest, and you had it ranked above mine. So yeah, a little oaky, I would say.
Yeah.
But a little bit flat. I didn't get a ton of flavor out of this one.
And that is surprising. It's 125 proof. It's the highest proof one that we're drinking today. I like this one on its own. As you can see, I sipped this one quite a bit. But yeah, I think it suffered again because I think the number 2 and number 1 bourbons that we ranked
are really, really good.
Yeah, they're just a lot better. Yes. And so the old Grandad and the 1792, they weren't terrible. But I think they suffered because the 2 others they were up against are that much better.
Exactly. So a fun fact about 1792. Do you know what happened? 1792.
What happened in 1792?
Kentucky became a state.
Bourbon school.
Done.
History. There you go. Yeah, and Barton actually, the 1792 distillery, they actually make bourbon for Kirkland, which you can get at Costco. You said they make the military special?
Yeah, the military special. Not well liked among military personnel.
Like when you go to the PX and buy the military bourbon, it's Barton. So they're into a lot of...
Yeah, they've got a wide range of products available too.
Yeah, and I know there's some really good Barton products out there, and I do like 1792. We actually liked the 1792 small batch as well. It's nice and sweet. It's a good bourbon. Again, this one just suffered, I think, a little bit because of what it was up against.
What's the price point on this one?
This one was about $45. And again, like I said, that was a store pick. It might vary based on where you are. But like I said, this is a good one on its own. I've enjoyed it. But again, we're
on to bigger and better things.
Yeah, we've got some bigger hitters coming up.
Okay, Brian, in second place, without further ado, we've got our Wild Turkey Rare Breed, which we both really liked.
Yes.
I thought it was great.
And this is a little bit of redemption for Wild Turkey because they have, for the most part, underperformed in our tastings. I've always liked Rare Breed, and they didn't disappoint in this blind. Yeah,
they've been making it since 1991. Apparently, they changed the bottling, like the packaging on it, and that's led to, I think, a price increase over the years. So it's going to cost about $50 now for this bottle. And it's becoming a very, very popular bourbon. For a while, you couldn't find it because they actually had a shortage of actually finding these bottles. So it became very hard to find. And then when it became more plentiful, yeah, you're right. It did kind of bump up in price. And in some places around us, it's up towards $60 now too. So, of course, we live in New York where everything's more expensive. But, well, I do. Yeah. Pennsylvania's a little cheaper. Yeah, but it definitely has been creeping up. But it is a favorite of a lot of people out there. They love the Rare Breed. Yeah, and you can taste. You're going to get that high alcohol on the nose, but it is a blend of 6, 8, and 12-year bourbons. So you're going to expect that. Right. But we really like the flavor. I could taste kind of a charred in the flavors there. I could also taste some, I don't know, maybe tobacco. Yeah. Yeah, it was a kind of a very rich flavor to it on the nose and the palate. Look at you becoming a bourbon snob. I had to taste it a bunch of times before I got there. I just know it tastes good. I have always liked Rare Breed. It's got a nice sweet caramel flavor, which that's kind of my wheelhouse for bourbon. It's got to be sweet, caramely, butterscotchy kind of flavor. And Rare Breed kind of ticks all those boxes for me. And I will say that blend, that 6-8-12 blend, it makes it a great value too. For $50 or $55 to be able to get bourbon that's aged like that, it's a pretty nice bottle of bourbon to be able to snag. And Rare Breed is one that I know a lot of people have on your shelf, and if you don't have it on your shelf, you should. All right, you ready for number 1? Let's do it. All right, last but not least,
And it comes as no surprise to me that we picked this as our favorite.
And both of us were really impressed with this
yes,
one.
both of us picked this as our overwhelming favorite. It is Old Forester 1920.
Now, Brian, this has some interesting history to it.
Yes.
If you're a history buff, 1920 will maybe ring a bell that it's the beginning of Prohibition. But the United States government gave distilleries in Kentucky some permits to brew medicinal alcohol. So they got permit number 3.
Okay.
And, of course, anything under the sun, common cold, flu, up to tuberculosis, cancer. You can get 1 pint of alcohol every 10 days. You had to have like a script and everything for it.
And the name Forester actually comes from the doctor who was like a big proponent of prescribing alcohol
makes me feel
for
better.
medicinal purposes. So Dr. Forester knows. So this one, like we said, it's no surprise. We have been huge fans of Old Forester. And this one is no exception to how delicious this is. It was sweet. It was caramely. It was full flavored. And even at 115 proof, it is 10 points lower than that 1792, but so much flavor going on in that 115 proof.
And the availability is good on this too.
Yes.
So about a $60, $65 price range, but totally worth it for the delicious product.
Yes. And it is the most expensive of these 4 that we've tested out here, but I have no hesitation in saying, like, you've gone up the ladder and you're ready for the high proof, barrel proof, kind of high test bourbon. This is the one right here.
Yes.
It's a fantastic bottle. I keep it on my shelf all the time. I'm never without 1920. And so I really do love this one. It's my favorite high proof bourbon and highly recommend.
Number 1.
So there you have it. You have now walked your person all the way up the ladder from Old Forester 86 to Old Forester 1920. And now the whole world is opened up to brand new, delicious, high-proof bourbons that they can enjoy.
Brian, we even got your wife, our producer.
Yep.
She's drinking high-proof bourbons now,
That's all
right?
she'll drink.
That's right. Her training wheels are off, and she's Forrest Gump. She's
All
running.
right.
Her leg braces are flying.
Yep.
And she's got a glass of Old Forester in her hand.
Absolutely. All right. So if you like this video, please like, subscribe, and share it, and ring the bell for notifications so you never miss an episode of Bourbon School.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Welcome to Bourbon School. I'm Lauren.
And I'm Brian.
And today we are filming our... Oh my God! What the... Oh.